What about something else I wanted that was brought up in the questions were calling strategies. So I know, and I'm still going to ask you about it, but I know my dad's thought process on it. But I actually honestly don't really know Johnny and Mason's. I don't know if we've talked about this before.
I don't really know mine either.
Besides your water bottle, but
I don't really have any. I was always like, I know you blind grunt and do good. I always wanted to be quiet and just like, I got to do more grunting, I think. You know, I mean, I'll throw a grunt out when, you know, if you think this deer is, you know, it might spook and that, but I need to do more blind grunting, I think.
So right now,
I learned that from you, like, you know.
Yeah, you learn a lot from me if you listen.
So I need to do a little more blind grunting. But I was down in Ohio the one year, and this guy, I don't know if I told this story, there was a big rock I know over in this area, and it was windy, and I said, is that a deer grunting? But it was like, bruh, bruh. He did like 20 seconds straight and stopped, and there was like a 1 minute. He had like a nice sequence. It was like 20 grunts, 1 minute stop, 20 grunts, 1 minute stop. So, yeah, he was up there sitting on a rock smoking cigarettes, and he blew that grunt. He probably wore it out, man. I'm like, but this little spike come running at me. He was even like, looked up in a tree. He's like, holy mackerel. This guy, what's he doing? But I heard it off in the distance, but it was such a sequence. Like 20 long, brat. I mean, it was like literally 20, brat, brat. I'm like, then the wind calmed down, and then it was like a time, but like 30 seconds, and then 20 more.
What are you doing in my area?
I was like,
no, one thing with the calling, with the grunting, the blind grunting for me, is I truly believe it does drive off the smaller bucks. That, you know, I think they just won't come in because they don't want to get their ass kicked, basically. I think that if I truly believe if there was days that I wouldn't grunt at all, I'd probably see more bucks, you know, more deer. But I feel confident that if the boss in that area or the up and comers are in that area, that they're going to come in. Mm-hmm. I feel good about that. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to see the better bucks if I'm going to see any. But I can expect all day not to see anything because of that. I mean, that's just my thought pattern on it, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with doing that.
Mason?
I was actually going to say the opposite of what you said.
Really?
Just with I mean, you've been doing it a lot longer than I have, and maybe it's because of my areas, or I feel like where I've been hunting the last couple of years has been extremely high pressured. Is my experience has been, I can usually call the smaller bucks in, but out of the last 3, 4, 5 years, some of the bigger bucks I've shot, I always blind call because I have seen it work with smaller and 3-year-old bucks, you know, but.
What tone do you? I mean, it could be your tone too.
Yeah, it could be. I do. My grunt call has a slider on it. It goes from buck to doe, and I use all of it. I haven't had it put any study to it to see how many deer come into to what tone, but my experience has been I can usually call the smaller bucks in, but the bigger bucks I don't think that they've been coming into the grunt calls. And in places where I have been able to see further distances, I've called it some bigger bucks, and they they'll look that direction, kind of just keep sticking to
I think
their
that's
plan.
probably why I've been quiet a lot, is because I felt like maybe pressured areas, and I just felt like if you're just throwing a grunt and there's no, I guess I didn't put much thought into it, but there's no other, not a visual, or maybe they're going to go downwind to you, and I'm just afraid of giving them that something's there. Let me check into it more to where no, or I don't hear it, or I feel like just a lot of guys maybe just use and abuse their call and not blowing it right, I guess. But
in a lot of places I hunt, it's pretty thick. Like you can't really see very far. So maybe some of the maybe I'm spooking more smaller bucks than what I know too. That could easily be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Dad, you were about to say a little bit about like the tone and like kind of how you do that. So explain that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I do a more drawn out, more aggressive and a deeper grunt, instead of just a little, you know, young buck grunt. I guess.
I feel like that's what I'd probably do more.
That's probably what I do. I'm not trying to scare them. You know,
like come beat me up. I'm over here.
Yeah, I'm just a little wimp. You know.
Yeah. No. I think I am more aggressive on mine, but I don't. I mean, I'm not like. I wasn't that guy you heard.
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't me.
Oh man!
But I'm not sure what my sequence is, or as far as the timing. It may be every 20 minutes, sometimes maybe every 10 minutes, sometimes maybe once an hour. I guess it's how I feel that day, or what it feels like to me. I guess, and the time of the year. I do some bleats in there as well.
How do you combine the two?
I probably throw out some bleats, and then I'll do like almost like a buck roar, like
Like
something
that?
like that. Yeah.
See that, John?
That's pretty good, though.
You don't need no call.
But it's more something like that. That like it's a buck that is on a chase on a doe, and then the other mature bucks are like, hey, I'm gonna go try to take her from him. I mean, that's my thought pattern on it, anyways. Rattling, though, I've never had any luck. I know there's a lot of people that do. I just don't. I'd like to go with somebody that has success with rattling, because what I'm doing just doesn't seem like it works.
I feel like the rattling part has to do with a lot more of what Johnny said, the realism of a buck fight. Zach Fehrenbaugh said it on the podcast last year about this time, the rut calling strategies episode, was like, if you ever hear a buck fight, which all of you have, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on other than just horns clanking together. Where grunting can be a little bit more of just you hear the grunt, and that might, but when you hear a buck fight, you hear just sticks breaking and leaves throwing, and that's why he says he feels confident with on the ground doing that. Versus in a tree where it's like, okay, there's just random.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's random stuff clanging together.
Well, last year I took it to a new level. My rattling in a tree. I actually had a blowdowner in front of my tree, and I tied a rope to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
yanked on it.
I'd be yanking on that and hitting the horns, and I even had the horns on a rope. I'd throw them out there into that and get them tangled up in there, and I try to get it at ground level, but didn't have any luck. I thought, man, this is going to be it. This is going to be the year I'm going to rattle something in. And